Hi, Paul. Morning. It's the 11th of Jan, Tuesday. This is a special audio recording on the politicking that's going on in Thailand.
Yeah, look, thanks. Greatly appreciated. It's certainly a very convoluted and complex situation. Some brilliant strategic minds and the longevity of the current powers in Thailand depend on those strategic minds, two of whom are the key players, of course. So interested to hear. Go ahead.
Right, Paul. So there's a few things that I wanted to bring up with you. It seems like the elections are going to be a battle between the Puatai versus the coalition. This is what we had said in our assessment that we released in December. Because the Puatai is the Shinawatras party, and it is expected to get around maybe 200 to 250 seats, but it won't have the support of the 250 military appointed senators. So it could be a tight election. Another party to watch out for is the Bhumjatai party led by Anutin. This party is expected to win around 100 seats, but even though they might be opposition, they might be competing against other parties in the coalition, they are still on the monarchy and conservative side. For the
Okay,
current,
thank you.
Paul, regarding the Democrats, it's looking like they are going to struggle to hold the seats that they have. They have been suffering a political decline over the last few years. That's looking to continue.
Yeah, look, and they've had horrible leadership, soft leadership, weak leadership. Going back 15 years ago, they were potentially a major player, had the Prime Minister at the time. Um, but it's just been weak ever since, marked with dragging in old fuddy-duddies. So they might have been democratic, but they were certainly not progressive. Thank you.
Right. Also, for the current coalition to continue, we have the PPRP, the Palang Pracharat Party, which is nominating Prawit Wongsuwan, and we have the United Thai Nation Party, which is nominating Prayut Chan-o-cha. If they can form a coalition and get to 250 senators with other small parties, and they'll have the backing of the Senate, then this alliance is set to continue. They could also benefit if Puatai does not win the prime minister election, and then MPs will defect. These guys are known as Cobras.
Yeah, and that defection, that Cobra effect in Thailand's massive because without power, you don't have money. So power gives you access to massive contracts, gives you access to money. And at the end of the day, a lot of the ministers, that's what they're about, particularly on the taxing side. Whilst he purports to be there for the people, he's actually there for his empire. So it's going to be interesting to see that Cobra effect. Obviously, both you've mentioned Prawit and Prayut seemingly on different sides, but all both vying for and having a vested interest in tapping on those 250 military appointed senators, and then between them they get power. But if their conflicts real or not real, they have to acknowledge each other's ability to amplify their own power. So whoever gets the most number of um, seats and popular votes, and that's a balance that. But whoever seems to be the most powerful come the election time, he's going to be the head man. But whoever that is still going to need the other chap because otherwise they do depower their own ability to influence everything. Okay, good going. Thank you.
Right, Paul. I agree with that. With regards to that, I would say that Prayut does have an advantage over Pravit, given Prayut's experience as a prime minister. And the Palang Pracharat party has suffered from, a loss of popularity and some factionalism. So Prawit is not in the same position as Prayut, who is in a new party that's untarnished in terms of reputation, and the new party fully backs him.
Yes, and also one of the key um, qualities and values that the Thai voting public will be looking at is loyalty. If you look at what the base values of the country are built on, loyalty is huge in Thailand, and Prawit's been far from openly loyal to Prayut. And if you look at the background, both a military man, and when a military man in a top position, and, and largely due to Prayut appointing him, when he starts to want to run his own race, doesn't normally end up the way their egos think it is. Taxon may be another example of that, albeit a very different example in terms of he wasn't army, he was police, he was a self-made man, but not a man made by date of legitimate business dealings. And certain qualities that he has, such as narcissism and other undesirable comments, at verging even on being a psychopath, helped him get ahead. But the lack of loyalty that Prawit's ambition has shown, whether his points are right or wrong, the perception is he hasn't shown the relevant qualities of loyalty. And the top dog in Thailand needs to have that because he's ultimately acting for the royal family. Thank you. Go ahead.
Right, Paul. I agree with that. So, I mean, to sum all of this up, Prayut does have an advantage coming into these elections. And I mean, regarding what he did in 2019 and, the processes in which the military government came to power, these guys are politically seasoned. They do have political capital, especially Prayut.
Yes, and look, I've gone on record many, many times as saying, despite him being quiet and very methodical in what he does, he's a brilliant strategic mind. One other thing to note is, unlike America and England and Australia, for instance, that discredit the Royal Military Colleges and the people they produce, even though they have a much more difficult selection process to go through and a much more difficult course to go through than their colleagues in the managerial world from the civil side of structures. Thailand has a very good training system. It has a 2-year pre-cadet school where Army, Police, Air Force and Navy are all together. That same system falls afoul in the Philippines because they use it in the Philippines to create power groups for coups and corruption. But in Thailand, they then go to their 4 relevant military colleges, and they basically, 3 military colleges and a police college, and then they get the technical expertise they need. I would rate the military officers, Army, Air Force, and less so Navy, but definitely Army and Air Force, as being highly competent managers, and their ability to think strategically, their high level of ability to plan is quite incredible. So, just hang on a sec, mate. Which one is it? Sorry, mate, I'm just at an intersection in Thailand. It looks like the intersection of the universe. And I got the right. Oh, guys. Just hang on a sec, mate.
Yeah, no worries, Paul.
All right. Yes. So look, I think that's a brilliant brief, mate. Now, if there's nothing else to add, I think the key thing for us is continue to monitor how this all unfolds in terms of Prawit in particular. Does he continue to go down the hardcore path, or does he get to a point where he suddenly backs off and realises, whoopsie, or is indeed the emergence of that it does appear to be a feigned conflict between the two just to garner even more votes? Remembering the previous election, it was all about Prayut's brilliance to conceptualise a whole series of small parties, put influential people that were friendly to the status quo, meaning the pro-royal family, and all these indicators are going to come out slowly. They'll be masked, but they will be there for us, okay?
Yeah, Paul, we'll definitely keep an eye out on any of the movements that are happening in Thailand.
All right, brilliant, mate. I'm going to try and survive the freeway fiasco. This should be a board game, mate, or a game show on video games.
All right, good luck, Paul.
Survive a trip to the airport. All right, see you, mate. Cheers.
Yeah, thanks. Bye.